Welcome to Liberteach Africa series, a program by African Justice Media. Religious freedom is guaranteed by Article 29 of Chapter 4 of the 1995 Ugandan Constitution. However, the state of religious freedom shrinks. My name is George Justice Kanyihamba, and in today's discussion, we speak to Apostle Peter Kisakye, and he is going to be giving us an overview and analysis about the state of religious freedom in the country. Apostle Peter, welcome to African Justice Media.
Thank you.
Yourself to our viewers, just 1 minute.
Hello viewers, my name is Apostle Peter Kisakye Zimla, the founder of Arise and Shine Glory Ministries International and Apostle Peter's Foundation, an initiative that takes care of less privileged children, orphans and single mothers in Entebbe, Lugonjo.
Thank you. What are some of the points, some of the factors that are coming out in the religious sector that you are complaining? What happened to you? What was the reduction to
what exactly
activities?
happened was there's been such a limitation on reaching out to people spiritually, and we believe that this was very vital during the pandemic, because the pandemic of course struck a lot of hopelessness in people. Most people didn't die of coronavirus, but they died of stress. They died of many other things that are related with stress. They were stressed, they were hopeless, people didn't have what to eat, they didn't have where to run for as a refuge for hope, so they ended up dying, of course, with other simple diseases that were neglected. Number two, the church, regardless of the pandemic and other things that were not so much affected by this lockdown, like markets. We've been in markets where we find people in big numbers, but the church is still closed, you understand? The markets have actually been open throughout. They put there some soaps, but which were not followed. You could go to a market and find hundreds of people in a market, and then you find that church is one of the most organized places. It's actually more organized than the parliament, because in the parliament you expect people even to fight. People will be arguing about this and that, which you will not find in the church. In church we have ushers, we have an order of service where people sit in only the position they have been designated to sit in. So you will not even find people maybe towards the born again where we have to sing and dance, but that could be limited. So there could be a way the church would not be so marginalized and oppressed during. I feel the church was so much oppressed by the pandemic through the soaps.
What do you think should be the position of the church? Should they make a church an essential service? What should be the position of the church in the period
has
of
to
the
be
pandemic?
an essential service.
Tell us more about how the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown, the policies that have been put on a region, how have they affected you as a church?
Well, the pandemic and all its laws, I don't know whether I call them guidelines, of course they have marginalized the church and limited the voice of the church in the country. The fact that government categorized church as one of the non-essential service, and they combined church with bars and all those kind of things, I think that was marginalization. That was demeaning the position of the church in the country and in the play of the protection of our people during the pandemic. I really don't think that all the steps the government took were necessary. I was saying that the reason why the church of all things has to be a part.
Why do you think the church must be number one? Should be in essential service?
Because of the services the church is offering.
How unique are they from
We have had a scenario that regardless of the lockdown, the crime rate escalated. You understand? We have had the Gambia scenario in Masaka, and not only in Masaka, the abductions of people and the murders that have been going on, like of the late, the late daughter of General Katuma.
Is it because of poverty? Is it because of wickedness?
It is wickedness, it is poverty, it is hopelessness. You understand? The church is a hope giver, it's a life giver, it's a life saver. You know, where government cannot reach, the church reaches. Where government cannot speak and be heard, the church is heard. No pastor can stand among drunkards and speak and don't respect his voice. But a politician will speak and nobody will listen, because we have known politicians as liars and so many other kind of things. So to trust, even when the government wants to pass on authentic information that will help the people, and it wants the people to buy that information, it should learn to use the church. So we are a voice, a great voice in a nation. But when we see that the government categorizes us as a non-essential service, we wonder.
Now, speaking about religious freedom, what could be your overall comment about the state of religious freedom in the country to our viewers?
Well, apart from the pandemic period, but we have that freedom. We have had that freedom as a church, apart from the times of the pandemic, where we have actually thought, we came to understand that we do not have that freedom as we hoped. But we have had a wonderful time. I have no reservation on that. We have had the freedom to worship, to do whatever that we felt like doing. Yeah, apart from the period we've been in during the pandemic.
Okay, now the same constitution, the Ugandan constitution 1994, the same chapter 4 that grants you the right to worship, to religion, freedom of religion, it as well grants you the non-derogable rights, whereby there are those rights that can't be taken away from you in the times of emergency. So religion is not part of them. It's not basic to that extent that if an emergency happens, they can take away your religious freedom because they think it's not an essential. What is your take?
I don't think that is right. And if one of the things that need to be amended, that's one of the things that need to be amended. Because whether it an emergency or not an emergency, there are certain fundamentals that you cannot break. You understand? But you see, we do not have people that analyze the importance of certain things. And we have seen people amending other laws that don't actually need to be amended. Right? Laws like the age limit, the term limit. Now that we have, I think the term for the MPs and president, they want to even amend it to 7 years. You know, I don't think that is important. But this one is one of the things I need. There's no way you say something ceases being useful during an emergency. Then it means it wasn't useful.
Because they try to bring out measures to fight the pandemic or an emergency.
In the measures that you bring up, if this was important, it must have a clause in it, a participation in it. There is no emergency that scraps off the usage.
Some of the 2 points are one, inhuman and degrading treatment. One, a right to life. They are four actually, but those are some of the rights that they think they are basic. That an individual, a human being, cannot live without them, and that's why they make them non-derogable.
Alive in church. The question is, when someone prays during the pandemic, does that take away his right to life? Or it actually prolongs and protects the right?
Maybe the perception of government is that it prolongs the disease.
Because the government does not know the necessity of a church, the importance of a church.
Thank you. Now, as we end this, what is your word to the policymakers out there?
To the policymakers, I would want to say the church is not a non-essential service. It's the #1 essential service in this country, and the voice of the church in such periods and in the changing society we are in, the voice of the church is very vital. Last, I want to say we have had many, especially the lawmakers, the politicians, of course our leaders in public offices, who always rise up and attack the church and church leaders when we rise up to speak against things that of course pertain life, both the lives of our believers and us. When we talk about the way they are leading that is not right, according to us, they do not want the church to participate in that. They want the church to do other things, but not to keep an eye. And I want to say to all the policymakers that the church is actually like the judicial service. Our eyes must be open, and we are the guiding tool of a nation. So our voice must be considered in the law, in the places where like the parliament, where they are making laws from. I think this is one of the things that they must consider. Thank you.
Now, that was Apostle Peter Kisakye, the man of God, and those are his remarks. Thank you for watching Liberteach Africa series. My name is George Justice Kanihamba. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also turn on the notification bell. We meet in the next episode.